is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Just for Kicks.
Broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Now, your hosts, Judy Trammell, Haley Anderson, and Kelly Fenglass.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We are joined today. Our sidekick is Taylor Stern. Woo! Judy, Haley, and Taylor and I, we promised last week, and this week we're going to keep that promise and talk about our recent adventure to Louisiana, where we took a swamp tour. Now, this is just for kicks. It's kind of girl talk, but you guys might want to listen. So, we all donated not prizes. We all collected our pictures from the trip to New Orleans, but it was absolutely a ball. It was my favorite time in 2020 so far.
It was fun.
It was so
It was out of our element, so that made it even more fun to do something different.
We were the Swamp Squad.
That's right. You came up with that Swamp Squad, which was a hoot.
We need to make shirts now.
We need
to do it.
Yeah.
So we were going on, part of our group was going to go to a museum, and we opted for the swamp tour. And when we first got there, the brochure started boasting about this intimate 24-passenger boat that we were going to kind of sail away on it was the Pearl River, but it was also the Honey Island Swamp Tour. Honey and swamp don't mix to me.
It didn't mix.
No, and I'm so glad what was our driver's name? Bam Bam?
Bam Bam was the bus driver.
He was trying to drop you off in the 9th Ward first,
right.
though. And you told him no thank you.
No, because I was just fresh off my binge watching of The Pharmacist on Netflix, and I was very familiar with St. Bernard's Parish and the goings-ons. But anyway, so we get on a bus, and we're going down. We're going to take our swamp tour. You guys dressed in costume. Y'all looked like swamp friends. But Haley, I thought you looked a little bit more like Axl Rose, honestly.
Do we have some photos? Oh, there's us. That's us.
So there's our swamp. It's not a yacht, but the stories, there's Haley's Axl Rose. And by the way, note to self, y'all were wearing extra large sunglasses to mask the amount of fun you had had the evening before the swamp tour. But kudos to us for getting up and going on the swamp tour. So first off, we loaded onto this the boat. Was it a boat, I guess? And we were low to the water, just inches away from the water.
I got a little nervous when we first got on, and it kind of swayed over to the other boat. I'm like, we are going to go down before we even start.
We're checking for
technical difficulties. You know what I couldn't believe is right out of the gate with Captain Luca of Cajun Encounters. That's what this thing's called, and I highly, highly recommend it. And this is not a paid advertisement. But the first thing we saw, and you had to have good eyes, I wish I'd had my binoculars, was how big would y'all say that alligator was? We have a
9-foot alligator. 9 foot.
9 feet. Yeah. I think we have a picture of it. And it was on the banks, and it was a cloudy day. So we learned a lot about the science of the wildlife there. But since alligators are cold-blooded and they come out to warm to get their body's energy, yada, yada, there were only few alligator sightings, but we saw one right out of the boat, literally. And it was amazing. And even the homes, weren't those homes that were built above ground, didn't you feel like you were in a movie? Or
definitely, it felt like a movie set, and I don't think I would live in one of those homes.
You don't think so, Judy?
I don't think I would.
It looks,
after you're done with the
bed and breakfast and cane pull fish off that house all day long.
That would be fun. That's where you're going to retire. Now we know your retirement home. It's on Honey Island Swamps.
Kelly living the best life.
Well, I don't know about that. I loved the wildlife. I loved the terrain, the flora, and I just thought it was beautiful. And we saw it, and it was kind of cold and a dreary day, but in the summer, I bet it is amazingly beautiful. Judy and I, now we always laugh about some of the old lady things we talk about, but when we first got to New Orleans, we were so excited. Not about Bourbon Street, not about beads, not about parades, but the magnolia trees. Were they not beautiful?
The magnolia trees were beautiful, and we call that our red tomato talk. Green tomato talk. We were going to write a book once, but that's...
I want you to write a book.
When your grandmas used to go, "Oh, aren't those pretty tomatoes?"
That's
what we were doing with the magnolia trees, yeah.
But Judy was so smart because when I would look at her, and we were all lined up all of us on that one side of the boat because you had to be on one side.
Yes.
And when I would look at Judy, she was wrapped in her little Sherpa jacket, and she'd be like looking.
She looked so cold.
She did look cold.
Well, and of course she looked picture perfect.
Yeah,
Picture
always.
her drop earrings.
Oh,
Remember?
I had
Judy
drop
did have a drop
one.
earrings on.
I lost
Judy was
one.
accessorized. But now we saw the alligator, and then we're going to bust out and pick up some speed and go on out into the Pearl River to find all the other things on the brochures that they boasted. And that's when you started laughing at me because I had a moment where I kind of had to hold on to my
her
hair. And I'll let you finish the rest of it.
What is that piece of hair called?
She used to call it her squirrel.
Well, wait. First of
Like
all,
squirrels, but as a
Okay, so I
wiglet.
turned to Kelly,
But Wiglet
and
fits for
she's,
this topic.
Judy's wrapped in her Sherpa with her drop earrings on, and Kelly's just,
I'm hanging on to
holding
my
on
wiglet for dear life because I know it's going to blow off in the swamp, and then I'm going to just be left with a spray. When y'all put ponytails
wimp
and little
head.
knots up, they're cute. Mine looks like a little
Broccoli.
Brussels.
alfalfa head.
What do you call
over
the
here.
piece of broccoli, Judy? You're the cook,
That's
not me.
fr-
A stalk of broccoli.
Well, it's the flower.
The floret.
Yes.
Anyway, broccoli. So
Broccoli head.
I was hanging on to my wiglet because now we were picking up speed, and you were laughing. I think we have video
She was
of
like,
it.
"Y'all, my wiglet might fall into the swamp."
There it is.
That was
Yeah,
my
this is
favorite
me hanging
part.
on to my wiglet.
I mean, and it was almost out. There was a chance for it.
Forget the
we got
hats. Hold on
speed.
to the wiglet.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, there is.
It's important.
Hey, at least. Well,
Own your truth.
I lost a wiglet in Mexico.
You didn't.
I remember the
I
story.
went for a massage on the beach. And have y'all ever had, the massage? They start at your feet, and then they
Is
do
it
your
like-
hands and legs and all of this. And then the very last part of the massage, they're going to pull your rubber band out of your hair and give you like a temple
Little
massage.
facial.
And when she was going for that, I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I could feel her. She was pulling that rubber band out, and then there went my wiglet, and all of my pride just got pulled right out. And it was almost kind of one of those massages on display because people could see you. Anyway, when it was all said and
bless.
done, and I knew my identity had been lost,
Revealed.
I started asking for it, and then all of a sudden my English and her Spanish weren't mixing, and there is an iguana
Somewhere
or
wearing your wiglet.
one of those other
Toucan.
There's somebody that has my wiglet. Here's even worse. Now the store I used to who
It's
is
not
that?
me. I don't know.
Not me.
Ooh. Well,
Must be
Somebody's buzzing.
Someone's
okay,
buzzing.
somebody's buzzing. My wiglets are no longer available at Ulta. They have beautiful blonde pieces, of course. They even have gray pieces, Judy.
Thanks. Sure, I'll take that.
No, we saw Judy in the swamp as well.
I had to go shopping on Instagram, which I don't do, but I'm trying to learn. And anyway, I
found
found
wiglets
some on
on Instagram?
Instagram, and then you have to pick out your color off of a picture, which that's never going to work. Guess what the name of my color is?
Oh, I heard.
Fire. I thought Auburn.
I thought Auburn.
You're
brownish,
thinking
reddish.
of all the right ideas.
Something in a glamorous red tone.
Was it like beef jerky or?
Donkey brown. I kid you not, on my children's life, my wiglet color code is donkey brown. So there you go.
So if we ever want to buy you a gift, we now know
But we
you're
saw
calling
it.
it
We
in
saw
my hair.
the raccoon brown that your hair could be.
Well, speaking of raccoons, were any of y'all expecting to see a raccoon
No.
swimming around in
No.
a swamp?
And that
There was like
friendly,
4
not
or
afraid.
5.
They came out of nowhere. I was really, genuinely now, all kidding aside, I was very excited about the wildlife we saw.
Yeah,
I
you
was too.
were
I was-
until the hogs were swimming up close to you, and then you were like,
Then you
okay,
freaked out.
a little too close.
The raccoons entertained me, and we have a picture because they were just typical what you'd see.
There
The
they are.
mask. And
There's
the
3 of us.
There were 3 of us. We started laughing. We were like, "There's Haley and Taylor and Kelly," and they were like, "Where's Judy?"
And there goes Judy.
This blonde raccoon
her
comes
drop earring.
swimming in, looking for her drop earrings.
We're going to see a raccoon there someday with one
I've
ear
never
on.
Judy
seen
in
a
the
blonde
wild.
raccoon.
Like a pirate.
Anyway, so we saw the raccoons, and then I think the highlight then we heard these amazing stories from Captain Luca. I really was really touched by
He
his
made
story.
the
the trip.
whole adventure great.
But when he started telling us, he stopped the boat, our swamp yacht. When he stopped our swamp yacht, And when he talked about Hurricane Katrina and
the path it
his
went through.
family and the paths and the cuts in the river and all this stuff, it just
And we were in the eye of the storm.
yeah.
We were right there. He took us to the exact spot where the eye of the storm, where it was completely untouched. Isn't that crazy
Yeah, and you
to
could
think
see
of?
those cuts through the river, and I think he said that they had 11 boats. That was their families' livelihood, which was when they did they did oysters and stuff. And anyway, his stories were amazing. And besides seeing raccoons and alligators and hanging on to wiglets, and our highlights coming up when we talk about these wild boars. But wow, I
incredible.
was so inspired by his story of survival and the folks of New Orleans. And I left with a much greater sense of appreciation, respect, and suffering that they are still going through
that
trying
was
to rebuild.
Close to 20 years. In 2024, it'll be 20 years.
Yeah. Is that right?
That's crazy.
So then Captain Lucas started telling us something about don't stick your hands out of the swamp yacht, because he'd had a little incident with a younger child and a hog. And I turned to one of our coworkers, and we both were like, I'm very curious, Kelly, on trips, very curious, but it's like, a hog? Do hogs swim?
And
I mean, I know the few, and
I thought they were only eating
they
the
were
ground.
swimming like they were in the YMCA class. And we looked
yeah,
up.
it did not
And
help their
singing to us, too.
physique.
And then it's not only is it not the big black hogs, the mythical black hogs that I've heard about in Texas, but there's this blonde. Judy, you've got blonde friends in the swamps of
thank goodness.
Louisiana. But
Gray, as
remember
you
y'all-
wanted to say.
She was singing. That's your singing
That's
photo.
her singing
Oh,
voice.
that was my favorite.
We had fun.
And y'all, that's off my iPhone. I got to give it to the iPhones on this photography. I don't know how I did it, but
Shout
I
out
was
Tim
so
Cook.
excited. Haley, you're with me. We started giggling.
We started giggling, taking selfies. I mean, I'm a Razorback, so it was fun seeing all the hogs in the water.
But you've always just seen Tusk, the Razorback, in a
Tusk
cage.
'em.
Well, I
Yes,
don't know.
well, I mean,
I've
I've
been in
seen-
Arkansas. You've probably seen a few wild
I've seen a few
ones.
wild hogs in Arkansas, so it was interesting to see it in the water.
Have you seen them swim?
I have not seen them swim.
That was very
That was my
impressive
first
to me.
time.
And I also noticed that she was in a sense of motherly responsibility.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
definitely
looked pregnant.
had
Maternal
some-
instincts.
She had some piglets running around that were
Somewhere.
nursing.
Yes.
And Captain
Couldn't
Luca
find
told
them.
us that these wild boars have 3 litters a year. They have up to 9. Did they call them pups or piglets? Pups, piglets.
I don't remember.
I think they're
hearing
piglets.
Piglets?
Are they piglets?
Tweet us and
Yeah.
tell us
Somebody
what it
tell
is.
us if what's a baby wild
Yeah. Let's
boar.
find this.
But 9 times 3, that's 27 babies in a year, Judy.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so you can see where they're infested. And because she was swimming with us, and I felt like she looked sweeter than the ones that I've been told about. But I wasn't getting close to it. I was scared to take the selfie because I did feel like we
They
were
are
Might jump in and get the wiglet.
They are piglets.
So what else did we see? There were now on a warm day. They said off these Spanish moss trees that snakes are just dripping
glad
from the trees.
there weren't.
Well, that
so
one
glad they
photo
weren't. I
that they
hate
showed
snakes.
earlier where I'm like this, that was because, do you remember, Judy? And we're all doing well on the yacht that we're on, and we're just enjoying the cruise as we get the
You
speed.
got real comfortable for a
I
minute.
got real comfortable, and then he's like, and yeah, on these- yeah, it was a cruise. We were
Okay.
cruising, and he's like, on warm days, these snakes will actually pursue humans. And I
had your
looked at you,
hand
and I said,
down.
are they going to pursue humans? And you were like, they do. And I put my hand up, and I felt something. And I was like, no.
I was scared. We were all jumpy at
were
that
jumping.
point. The trees, I mean, they just encompass the whole. The space was small, very narrow pathways.
The way they drove. Do you drive a boat?
Yeah.
Sail a boat? Whatever.
You've
Captain
way
Judy, you
There
should
wasn't
know
any
this.
Sailing in
It
that
was not
swamp.
sailing. Mm-mm.
But he still knew how to maneuver that boat.
my
Unless
gosh.
there was something we didn't see that was guiding us along.
Shout out
and
to
he
our
knew.
female captain out there, Captain Judy.
Yeah.
There was a captain.
Yes.
Yes.
No, he knew, and I even looked it up just because I'm doing my research. But the flora and the fauna. Do y'all know what fauna is?
No.
Well, flora was the landscape, but fauna is the wildlife, the animals, the living creatures. And we did see a lot of living creatures, including, who did see the snake? I couldn't see it because
I
saw
saw
it.
it. I saw it just
It was
coiled.
like coiled up on
on that green and white plant.
No.
And most people that go on this probably think they're going to see a lot of alligators, so could get disappointed. But the captain, Luca, he made it so interesting.
I was not. Yeah.
His conversation was great. It's so interesting.
It was awesome.
There was never a dull moment.
Shout out, Luca.
Yeah.
Luca was the best.
Cajun Encounters, and this is not a commercial, but for just girl
What is
fun.
that? What do we get? Free tours for life?
I would like to have seen the tree full of snakes just to see it.
No, thank you.
I'll send you a picture on Google Images.
Anyway, we saw great things. It was a great time. I would
was
highly
so much
recommend.
fun.
I'd take my kids back in a heartbeat. But
Didn't he say Leonardo DiCaprio
That's right.
had done the swamp tour?
Now
Yes.
we were on our swamp yacht was the 24 passenger intimate group tour.
You could do
but he
both,
also does
intimate
privates.
or
And he just
private.
said a couple weeks ago he had done Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think that's so
And
cool.
you guys, we're all humble enough that we can just be out there in our real wiglets and all, and just let it
Wiglets
be
and
for the
piglets.
world to see.
So that was one part of New Orleans. There's our friend from Bourbon Street. So when we come back, we want to talk about some things that happened on Bourbon Street, and then we want to talk to Mickey Spagnola about his incredible history and stories about the World War II Museum.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
It's right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
Back to Just for Kicks.
So
That's a
now
cool
we are
shot.
joined by the one and only Mickey Spagnola of Talking Cowboys and sports broadcaster extraordinaire, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders judge, and New Orleans expert for those of
Absolutely.
us that didn't know a darn thing about New Orleans.
This is my debut on this show.
Welcome, Mickey.
What is
Thank
your...
you.
Yes, welcome. Welcome to Just for Kicks.
Right.
It's girl talk, but men should listen.
They should. And, you know, sometimes our show's just for kicks, too, by the way.
We've spent some great conversations with Mickey through the years, and you have been on cheerleader calendar shoots and part of our judging. So you've been exposed to a lot of girl conversations. But something happened this past weekend in New Orleans that really, when I had time to absorb what really happened in the World War II Museum, I wanted to hear more about your experiences. So part of our group went to the World War II Museum, and I'm going to have Mickey talk about it. But what was discovered, or not discovered because you put it there, is it a stone or
It's a brick.
A brick.
They
with
made
your...
a sidewalk out of bricks across from where the D-Day Museum is. So there's 2 of them there now. The first one was the D-Day Museum, which just involved with the invasion on Normandy. And then a few years later, they built the World War II Museum. They expanded it across the street. So now you get a 2-for-1 if you go to the museum.
So I'm not sure if Haley saw it. Judy, I'm not sure you did either, but tell us about the brick that has your father's name on it. When I saw that picture, it just
Really? Yeah.
silenced
So
me.
what they did was when they to raise money for the museum, when they initially opened, they sold the ability to buy a brick with whoever's name you wanted on there to honor them from the D-Day invasion. So we chose to put my dad's name on there, the division he was in, the 90th Division, and then D-Day was June 6th of 44, and he landed on June 8th of 44 on Omaha Beach, which was one of the beaches the guys landed on. I guess fortunate, unfortunate, when they landed, there was a lot of GIs that were killed on D-Day, and those bodies weren't removed yet. So here's your introduction to World War II when you get off the boat and wade through the water, and all these guys have already perished. So some of them didn't even get to shoot their gun, and that was the interesting part of the D-Day Museum, and I don't think everybody knew that. The amount of casualties that it took place on D-Day until Saving Private Ryan, the movie came out with Tom Hanks, and then you understood the enormity and devastation that took place on that beach. And the only reason the U.S. was able to, move into the territory is they had more people, more soldiers than the Germans could shoot. And that's not like a great theory of war, right? Okay, let's just throw more people at them and they can't kill us all. And so when you saw that movie, you understood, just the death toll that took place when they landed at Omaha Beach. There was 4 beaches they landed on.
It was Omaha and Normandy
It was another city
Utah.
name. Utah Beach, it's state name, yeah.
And your father
on Omaha
landed
Beach.
2 days after D-Day.
Yeah. And they
How old was he
So
at that?
25 years old. He basically enlisted. That's what everybody was doing. And he was first stationed after he went through the boot camp was in Galveston.
Oh.
And they were patrolling the Gulf, the beachhead there, because they were worried at that time that there were reports that the Germans were sending submarines into the Gulf of Mexico. So they were basically patrolling the seawall there in Galveston, and he did that for a while before they shipped him over.
And then he was a survivor of a prisoner of war, yes?
Yeah, he fought at the Battle of the Bulge. There was a movie, and what I didn't understand, so part of the World War II Museum, they have different sections for different parts of the war, and they had one section on the Battle of the Bulge, and I didn't realize that it was fought in the winter. Like, they had shots of it, and there was snow all over the place. And he ended up getting captured there. The U.S. troops ended up taking over that part and helped them get on the road to Berlin to get into Germany. But in that exercise, he was captured and ended up a prisoner of war for about 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And survived. And it was funny, so when we went into the museum, you guys, in the lobby where we bought our tickets on Thursdays, they bring in World War II veterans. And you can talk to them, answer questions. Obviously, those guys survived. They had pictures and everything. And we were talking to a man, he was 98 years old, and he flew a plane. And he showed a picture of one of the anti-aircraft missiles hit his wing of his plane, but it didn't explode.
Wow.
So when they landed, they took a picture of this big gash in the wing. And he's like, if it had gone off, I'm not here, talking to you today. Wow. So, yeah, there was several miracles. And I always refer to myself as the miracle baby, right? That he survived that to come back, get married, and have kids, because there wasn't a lot of guys that didn't survive that whole thing.
I'm so glad you got to see your father's.
Yeah, I've seen the brick before, and it was very emotional because he passed away before we were all supposed to meet in New Orleans to see the brick and kind of commemorate his memory. So for us, it was always emotional. So anytime I go to New Orleans, I try to go and step on it and say a little prayer. So yeah, it's a neat thing, and they're also. And the other thing is the sidewalk survived Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, wow.
With all the devastation that took place in New Orleans, the sidewalk, the bricks were all there, and now they're making another sidewalk, and they're selling more bricks that people can donate money for to get the person's name on there. And it's kind of neat to look at all the different names on there. And usually when I go, I have to walk around forever looking for the section where the brick is. Right. Well, last time I said, you know what? I'm going to take a picture of where it's at off the sidewalk.
Of course.
And so now I could just walk up and I know where the segment is. Now it's just trying to find the brick in there. So yeah, it's a really neat thing. And this is not an advertisement for the museums.
I know. We sound like a travel infomercial today, but we're not.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
And both museums, you probably can't do them both in one day because you'll get worn out of reading and listening because they have all these audio histories that guys have come and recorded of their experiences. And the lady that started us on our tour explained that now they bring in guys that are still living, World War II vets from D-Day or World War II, and they put them in the lobby and just let them every Thursday just converse with the people coming in.
That's
and they
amazing.
were really
That's
interesting.
Really cool.
And I remember telling the guy that, my dad ended up being a prisoner of war, and I never heard it this way. I never thought of it this way. But he said, boy, he got lucky. And I go, what do you mean he got lucky? He goes, because if you survived the prison camp, you didn't have to fight anymore. Mm-hmm. And so your chances of getting killed were lessened as long as they didn't get you in the prison camp, because it was no day at the beach in the prison camps. I've got it's like a sack, a gunny sack. And one of the guys that was in prison with him made a log of all the different prison camps they got transferred to.
Wow.
Because they didn't want to keep them in the same place. And then when the Germans were retreating, they'd move them back and move them back. And they would do it in these boxcars at night so they couldn't see where they were going. But yeah, he had like 4 or 5 different spots he was in those 4 or 5 months he was a prisoner. So
now, was he married at that point?
No.
So no letter writing back to...
He had met what was going to be my mother before he went over, when he visited an uncle in Chicago, and came back. And, we've got letters that they wrote to each other.
What a blessing.
And I started reading one of them going, no, this is too private. I can't read this. And I should have, right? I think my sister still has them, though. But they collect things. So if anybody has anything from a World War II veteran and it's of some significance, they'll take donations and they put them in different displays and put the person's name on there who basically donated it.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. It's a fascinating museum.
Mickey, you should join us when we visit the veterans hospitals, because we have met people like you're describing. Remember this summer we met the gentleman who was the 75th anniversary of the Normandy invasion, and it's just such conversations. But they would love to talk to you about the Dallas Cowboys as much as you would want to hear about.
Oh, well, just let me know. I'd love to do that. And those guys, during that period of time, they didn't really talk about it a lot. It's kind of like, it wasn't something you bragged about or whatever. And then when my dad got older and he found this POW group, it was like a deal, and he joined it, and they would meet once a month, and then they started opening up to each other and telling their various stories.
I'm sure that's their only
and they felt like
therapy.
At least these people understood what I'm talking about. And dumb us, we didn't ask enough questions. It was almost like it was a different era where war was war, and that's what you did, right? And so we just kind of accepted, okay, they went to war. Because if you think about it, back in the day, all those World War II movies, D-Day movies, they kind of made it look like we were the smartest people in the world. Like we had this great sneak attack on the Germans in France. And well, it wasn't really a sneak attack. They were kind of ready.
Right.
One of the things that I do remember my dad telling me is that they, before D-Day, the night before, they sent paratroopers in, and they were going to get behind the enemy lines and so have them surrounded. Well, they misdropped guys. Guys got caught in trees. The Germans saw them coming and kind of like shot them out of the sky.
Oh, boy.
And then when we saw this stuff, that's kind of what happened. The paratroopers, the guys that survived, boy, they were really good because they were on their own once they landed. And that's when the French people helped them out and hit them out. So yeah, it's just a fascinating 2 museums that I just recommend to everybody.
We need to go back.
Awesome. Yeah.
I really want to go back.
We couldn't fit it all in that.
I know we couldn't, but
not enough time.
And and like when we were in school, and I don't know, Haley, how far you guys got into U.S. history, but it seemed like you started with the colonies and the Revolutionary War, and then right when you got to the World War II, it's like, oh, year's over with. Now we're going on to 5th grade. And they start over again. And you never really got to World War II.
That's why I do appreciate, I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I do appreciate that about Hollywood. Whether they get the facts correct every time, not always sure about that, but to tell those stories and to let us see things that we had not ever seen, or the stories told in writings or letters or this collection of documents, that's what keeps these historical moments alive. So I appreciate film for that. Speaking of sneak attacks,
yes,
and New Orleans, we have one little golden nugget that we've kept that we may use. But you took us, so we'd been on our
swamp tour,
and we were exhausted, and you had been on your tour, and so we were all going back. Haley was going to go to the Pelicans basketball game, right?
Yes.
Judy and I were shutting down. I was going to go up to the room and order room service and watch a movie, and then we ran into you and Douglas in the lobby, and y'all were just going to go have one drink on a little dive bar around the corner. So we said, okay, twist our arm. We did a U-turn, and we followed you into, what was that charming?
The chart room.
The chart room. Dark, seedy little bar.
She said charming. There was nothing charming
about it. No, I actually loved it. It was dark. It was so dark that my eyes had to adjust. I couldn't see when we first got in there. And Judy kept snickering about something. Wait till you see him. What do you see him? So then I couldn't see something, but I heard that all of a sudden this guy sticks this stick in my face. Rah, rah, rah. And I couldn't tell what he was saying. He had on a King's hat, red velvet, like a Grand
Marshal
crown, or I call him a Freddie Mercury crown. But he's sitting there and he's saying something to every female that comes by, and he stuck this puppet in my face, and he goes, "Dragon Lady."
There was a dragonfly on the end of it.
You can see it because it was black. And so I was a little offended, but then I realized every person that's come in since then, he's yelled that. So we took the liberty of recording him saying Dragon Lady so we could have it forevermore.
Dragon Lady! Dragon Lady!
Just in case the content of this show if we're talking about The Bachelor or something and somebody just wasn't all sugar plums and fairies,
bring out the Dragon Lady.
Bring out Dragon Lady. But
or if Kelly gets mean or something.
No, I'm not going to own that. But remember, Mickey, when you could see, and she had these pieces of paper all across the bar, and I was like, "What are those? I can't really see them. It's so dark." And it was different pieces, different currencies from around the world.
Around the world that people have been there and spent money, and they put the money up on the wall.
Yeah, because it was this large port in the 40s, and when sailors came through, they'd bring them currency just kind of as a memento, and you walk in there and you realize, wow, this is really history. You just kind of get chills realizing what did that person go through to get that piece of paper up in this place. But
it's a neat place.
It is really neat. And yes, I did think it was charming because when we walked in, there was this super cool jukebox and it was playing Sonny and Cher. And remember the music choices? We heard Sonny and Cher.
The Spinners,
Rubber Band Man.
Yeah.
It was a good collection.
Haley, it probably wouldn't have been your choice.
I like all types of music. I think it'd been fun.
It was real throwback. But anyway.
And the only other entertainment in there, Haley, was a TV up on the wall, and not a fancy one either, an old one, and they played black and white movies.
Oh, that's cool.
And when I went in there the day before, it was Ronald Reagan was in one of the movies.
Wow.
Young Ronald Reagan, by the way.
Mickey, thank you for joining us today and sharing
me tell that story. Yeah,
it was
that's
awesome.
Great.
It was amazing. And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have one, speaking of wild boars, we're going to have one Razorback talk to another Razorback cheerleader who just got married. So we're going to talk about weddings when we get back.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS1 score September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to Just for Kicks.
This is live.
And we're live.
And guess who's here now? Miranda.
Hello.
Third
Thanks for having
year
me.
DCC, Fayetteville, Arkansas, raised, University of Arkansas graduate. Welcome.
Woo pig. Thanks for having me.
Haley is going to do the honors of visiting with you, Razorback to Razorback, about your recent change in life, big celebration.
Yes, so kind of just tell me about the wedding and about how you met your now husband.
Yes.
And kind of how he asked.
Okay, so my husband's name is Christian, and we met back in college when we were only 20 years old. And we had all of our classes together because we were both the same double major in the business college, both honors programs. So we had every class all day long, all week with one another. And we had been a couple semesters in a row on projects with one another. But I was still kind of getting over, high school boyfriends, things like that. And so I wasn't quite ready. But then the summer between sophomore and junior year, he was a student mentor for the orientation mentor for the new freshmen coming in. So he was still in Fayetteville, and that's where I'm from. So we both spent the summer there. And he took me on a hike and made me a veggie sandwich. Summer lovin'.
The veggie sandwich did it, right?
The veggie sandwich. Oh, yeah, that's what
He made you a
always says
veggie
that.
sandwich, and that was what closed the deal.
That was the deal on the hike. And then and the fact that
guys,
he knew I was
listen
a
up.
vegetarian, we had just been in a couple projects. So I was like, okay, this boy has been listening to me. And so that was really sweet. And then so we dated all the way for there 6.5 years later. Actually, I guess we were only dating 5.5 years. When he proposed, we had bought a house. He said, house or ring? So I said, let's buy a house. We've already been together 5.5 years. We can get married later. And then when we were fixing up the house, he was painting it, and he took me to dinner. And he said, let me show you the house. I was like, Christian, I was just there this morning. How much could have been done since this morning? And he was like, Miranda, I finished painting the house. You have to come see it. And so eventually we went over there, and I guess I wasn't going the direction he wanted me to go.
Yeah, so you weren't expecting this. This wasn't one of those
I had no idea.
Instagrammable, let me document
It's going to
this.
be today. It's going to be today.
Well, good.
No,
I'm
I
glad
had
for
no
you.
idea.
Okay.
That's always fun, not knowing.
Yes.
I remember Amy on the team, asking me. I was like, oh, no, it'll be a couple years. He'll probably wait till after I'm done with DCC. And then he popped the question like the next week. I remember her asking me that like the week before. But we got to the house. And so the way he got me to go in the direction he wanted me to go was he said, let me show you the yard. I just mowed it.
Yeah.
And obviously,
look at the grass.
God was pushing me the right way because he was like, yeah. And so I was so excited. I was like, yeah, let me go see the yard. I was so excited. And I went out there. I immediately saw a sign that said, Miranda, will you marry me? And there were roses. And his uncle was hiding in the corner, who's a photographer, to take our pictures. And
you had paparazzi, family paparazzi.
We did.
And awesome.
Yeah. And then we went back to his family's house, and my family was there, and his family was there, and we all celebrated.
And had veggie sandwiches.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure we did.
Where is Christian originally from?
He's from Dallas.
Oh, so he's Dallas, you're Arkansas, but y'all were freshmen together at Arkansas? Oh, wow. And you had
There's a lot of
honors
Dallas
classes
people that go to Arkansas.
Well, y'all would know this Razorback
Yeah,
stuff.
our whole family went, and when I was going through, it was in-state tuition. So I was like, okay, I'm in.
That's right. What is the thing y'all do? Pig suey, whatever it is y'all do at, I guess, all sporting events?
Calling the hogs.
You call the hogs.
Yep.
What can y'all call the hogs here, or is that something that's sacrilegious unless you're on?
I mean, we can, but will sound a little bit
Haley,
off.
we just swam with hogs. You don't have to if you don't want to. I've just never seen it live.
We did you just the last one, the third one?
There's
more than one.
Well, you do three in a row.
Sets.
Yeah.
So you do the same thing 3 in a row.
So it's is it choreographed? Y'all keep
your arms go from the bottom, and you woo, and then pig, suey, and you get 3 times, and then after the last one, you go Razorbacks.
Ooh, pig,
suey, Razorbacks.
Your Aggies won't.
Oh, I know. I was gonna say.
I know you're Aggies.
Yeah, they're gonna be upset with us.
And so that happens at every touchdown, or just every moment, or
anytime you see a fellow.
When does a Arkansas Razorback person do the hog call?
I think
Depends
at
on
a
the
sporting
sport.
event, yeah, it's like you'll do it to raise the spirits at a sporting event. So if we're
So it's
behind
win or
and we come
lose.
back,
It's a rally.
And it's really amazing when you're in the basketball arena. At least I feel like that's the most special because it's 360 all the way around. And so when you're just in the atmosphere and the whole place is doing it, it's just something that it still gives me chills just even thinking about it. Just having the whole arena do it all together.
So was this done at your wedding?
That's exactly right. Thank you for finishing my sentence.
It was. So that's how we capped off the end of the night. So for our send-off, after Trish and I had our final dance, almost everybody that was there, except for the current DCC, I feel like almost everybody went to Arkansas. And so we did the hog call to send us off. And I saw a lot of those DCC jumping in. So I think they were a little jealous of
Did
missing
Taylor
out on
J
Arkansas.
jump in?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Taylor J being our resident Aggie.
Yeah.
So you said your last song. What were your songs? Your first dance, your last dance, your.
Well, we were talking
why
about
are y'all
this earlier.
chuckling?
Sorry,
what
because
did I miss?
we talked. Try not
Did
to
you
talk ahead of time.
pre-talk?
No, but this
Try
is
not
one
to.
subject. We did talk about one subject.
Well, Christian surprised me with the first song and the last song, and I had heard the first one before, and they were EDM songs, and they were really special, but I don't know the names of them because he pitched them out, and they were beautiful songs, but I don't know the names of them, and I feel terrible that I don't.
I think I would have to be involved to choosing my first song. I don't know if I'd be like, here you go, I'm
Well, I
blindsided going
approved
in.
it. He played it for me, but it's just not something that,
It
that I
just
know off the
wasn't.
top of
It's
my
not
head.
your big. I must control this list, huh?
I left all the music up to Christian because that's his big thing.
Nice.
I actually sit in silence all the time. People make fun of me for it. I don't listen to music like when I'm in the car or when I'm working out. I just like to listen in my brain, I guess.
Oh gosh,
and so music is just
a
not
lot going
because
on.
she talks so much. She's got a lot of
I have to
song in her own
process.
head.
And so I know I just don't listen to music a lot. So that was a big thing. I left that up to Christian. He got to pick the DJ and the song list for the whole night.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he loved doing that.
So who picked the wrong song for your daddy-daughter dance?
Well, I think it was partly my fault. My dad told me about 6 months ago that he wanted to do My Girl. And then,
Of course he did.
I know. And then I think throughout the process, things got confused. And the day of the song that was played was Brown Eyed Girl, which I still love. It was still a great song. But I was out there dancing with my dad, and he was like, this isn't the song I picked. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of in-the-moment wedding surprises that
many.
This isn't what I planned moments.
Yeah, there are. I was telling Judy earlier there was a couple of wrong items on our menu, but, in the grand scheme of things, it's like the whole day was so magical. At the end of the night, me and Christian couldn't stop talking about how much fun we had, how everything was perfect.
That's great.
And then, the next week you start thinking about all the little things and you can get caught up in it. But I think at this point, now that we're a couple weeks out of the wedding, we've just decided, the wedding was perfect. We came away from it feeling like we couldn't have done anything better. It was magical, and everybody that we wanted to be there was there supporting us. So it was a great day.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your dresses. I saw
Dresses.
three
Dresses.
I saw 3 different dresses.
There were 3
night.
different dresses.
Wow.
So I'm actually a bargain shopper, and so I'm really proud of myself because all 3 of these dresses we got at a bargain. So, if you want more information on how to buy a wedding dress in a bargain, hit me up.
Isn't
I can
enough
help you.
stress for me. One, please. So
I had one dress that was the traditional dress for a Catholic church wedding to walk down the aisle. But, it was strapless. It was fitted. I was like, I can't dance the way I want to dance in this at the reception. And so actually my mom convinced me of getting multiple dresses.
So you had your walk down the aisle princess dress.
Everything I wanted. Strapless.
Was it mermaid tight or
mermaid
was it
tight.
Tulle and
It's really
princess?
pretty.
Mermaid tight, and I had a little tiara that I loved. At first, when I saw it, I was like, oh, Mom, I don't need a tiara. And then I was like, no, I'm a princess. I need a tiara. And so the whole princess traditional Catholic church dress.
There it is on the screen.
And then, that's me with
you
Gina.
did, yes.
And then
Now, did you have the short Catholic ceremony or the extended Catholic ceremony?
The extended. It was about an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh,
so everybody was a
my.
trooper to
Yes.
sit through it. Well, and what really made it take longer was because when we did
your dress,
communion,
your wardrobe changes?
Well, that didn't happen until afterwards. But during communion, I noticed that we just had a lot of people who were there that were also Catholic. So communion ended up taking about 20 minutes on its own. And then for the reception, I changed into more of a tulle flowy, I call it my fairy butterfly dress. And that was good for dancing in. And then at the very end of the night to go out, because our reception ended at 10 o'clock, I got just a short dress to be comfortable in for when we went out.
And that was your walk away, throw rice or flowers or sparklers or whatever they
Call
did.
the hogs.
That you called the hogs,
Yes.
and then you went away and people tossed rice, flowers, sparklers, nothing. Do y'all?
When we
I
were
don't think they do
leaving, that's
rice
when we did the
anymore.
hog call.
They don't do rice anymore at weddings?
I haven't seen it in a while.
Well, and since
Always
we
seen the
got married
sparklers.
at a place that was like a botanical gardens, you can't really throw anything because you can't ruin the environment, the atmosphere that's there.
Can't have balloons, can't have
No balloons, no sparklers.
I just attended a wedding in Mexico, and they had sparklers on the beach, and it was so pretty. Speaking of environment, I know this is something near and dear and close to you, and I'm so impressed because you've made your passion now your career path in protecting the environment, right?
Yes. And so I just started, since I've been back from the honeymoon, so everything's still new, and I'm still training and learning. And it's actually a volunteer thing that Christian has been involved in for the last 6 months, and I'm joining now as well. And it's just to work on a climate change bill to get it passed through to legislation, HR 763, if you would like to look it up. But it's a bill to, move forward with our environment. It's something that me and my husband are very passionate about, that you might not think what you're doing today is a big deal for what we're doing today, but you think about your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids, and we need to leave a good world for them. And so something I'm very passionate about.
Do you see yourself as a lobbyist? You think?
Well, that's kind of what this volunteer thing is. It's lobbying to get this bill passed, and I never thought I would go into anything political, but it's more just my moral standpoints on things have led me into this direction that a big thing needs to change, and we're the United States of America, and we can set the right pathway for the whole world, and this is a small step that I can take to help.
Speaking of small steps, and Miranda's, this isn't just lip service. This is truly her passion. We've seen it play out. You asked me several months ago on the football field, could we change our trash or add to our trash, our waste management recycle bins, because the cheerleaders drink a lot of water. They're in plastic bottles, and also with our health club. And so we are changing. I don't know if you've seen it yet up in the studio.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, we have a little bitty recycle bin, and it's in your name. I'm going to call them the Miranda cans.
Yes, I love it. Miranda cans.
Yes, our building, we have them. I want to make them aesthetically, maybe work with our locker room a little bit better, but we have them for recycle in the studio. Maybe since you've been gone on your honeymoon, this happened.
I know. Yeah, I've been gone.
We'll do the same in our locker room. So you definitely raise awareness and you put your money where your mouth is. And good for you for pursuing your passions, especially those that matter to our planet.
You've made your first change.
Thanhave. Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yes, you have.
Have to put that on my resume.
You should. Yes, you should. Where did y'all go for your honeymoon?
We went to Puerto Rico.
Sounds
very
fun.
fun. It was amazing. And we went to a little island called Vieques right off the East Coast. And it reminded me just of Bimini. I thought it was right back there. It's like 4 miles by 6 miles. We rode golf carts everywhere. And it was just gorgeous. It felt like we had the whole island to ourselves. And so, but we chose Puerto Rico. We chose there. We stayed in the city of San Juan. But we were very close to Old San Juan. So you have things to do in a city. We went to a rainforest for a day and hiked. We just knew that we couldn't just sit on a beach for a whole week. We're not those type of people. So we went and walked through the rainforest on Valentine's Day and got poured down rain on. But it was beautiful and lovely. And we made it all the way to the peak. And then we were able to go to Old San Juan, and their food there is just the best. If you like mashed potatoes, their national dish is called mofongo, and it's mashed plantains. And then they mix it with either seafood or other types of meats. So if you ever go to Puerto Rico, make sure you get mofongo. It's delicious.
What go?
Mofongo. So it's
phone as in a telephone. Mofongo.
Kind of mofongo.
Mofongo. I'm hungry. I want some potatoes.
There you go.
Mofongo.
And it's enough food for 2 people to share. Don't order 2 meals for 2 people.
That's awesome. Did we have any other honeymoon questions? Or
I think that was all we got for
how
wedding.
many cheerleaders were in your wedding, at your wedding? Make me honest from my audition speech.
Yes, so I actually had 2 of my DCC that were my bridesmaids. So Gina and Caroline. Gina, me and her the same year, and we just hit it off right from the start our first year in training camp. And we really became best friends last year when we were both in Lacey's group. And we stood by each other, and she's the best person to stand by and learn to dance with. We have just such good vibes with one another, and we've just learned to love and care for one another for so much more than just DCC. Outside of DCC, we talk every day. And then Caroline is a year younger on the team. There they are. Caroline's my boot buddy, along with Taylor. And me and Caroline obviously have just gotten so close through the boot buddy situation. So that just shows how wonderful that installation has been with DCC, having the boot buddies. You get so close to one another. And then I had Molly and Lexi, who, since I chose my bridal party, which was almost a year ago because I was engaged for a year and a half, Lexi and Molly and I have all become so close to one another. So they were in the bridal party as well.
That's awesome.
And then 28 DCC were there at the wedding.
Wow. That's great. And y'all did Thunder?
And we did Thunder, and I got to be the point. It was great. And so actually, I was a little nervous. There was a break between the ceremony and the reception. And me and Christian, we whipped out a little salsa routine at the beginning, and so we danced to that. And while we were practicing for that, I was like, okay, hold on. Will you play Thunder? I need to practice one because I don't have anybody to look at. But I didn't mess up. It was wonderful, and those are videos I'm going to share.
And if you did mess up, you could say everyone else was messing up.
Everybody else messed up behind me. And one of my favorite moments, actually, whenever we were going to the kid line, me and Gina were facing one another, and I just had tears start welling up because she's just one of those people who is going to be in my life forever, and she's one of my best friends. And we hugged right before we started the kid line, and it got on video. And
this was cherished. Gina. You and Gina were tearing up. Oh,
and then we hugged right before we were like, oh no, we got to drop our palms and start. But it was really special.
That's awesome.
Palms and kick lines wedding dresses, and
I know. Yeah, it was, and I just remember I was talking to my whole family before this, and I remember my first day sitting at tryouts 4 years ago, and you were like, look, and Kelly said, look around. Some of these girls are going to be your best friends, your sisters, your bridesmaids, and then to have 4 of them up there with me, but then 28 even just there at my wedding, and the rest were there with me in spirit. I got so many texts that day from my DCC family, and you just don't realize when you first start this team how much of a life changer it's going to be.
I've got to start a collection of the bridal pictures because every year I say, I'm not going to say that this year at auditions. It's just sounding cheeky. People aren't going to really believe me. And then last year, Lexi did a video from her wedding, and it's true. Y'all are all
it's a great idea to have a collection of the photos.
It's awesome.
I think Lacey's the next one, and I know she has 1 or 2 in there as well. So I feel like everybody, it's shown tried and true that it does end up becoming a reality.
Well, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the wedding and the honeymoon.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at rehearsal shortly.
Yes, just a few days.
And for other people that want to have Miranda's dream come true, we are still having our prep classes on Friday nights, getting ready for auditions on May 2nd. And all that's on DallasCowboys.com. We've got to run. And when we come back, we're going to take questions and answers from our Pod Pals right when we get back.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
It's right above the subway.
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's best network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS1 score, September 2019.
Back to Just for Kicks.
Haley, I think we have a little bit of time for some Pod Pals questions.
Yes, we have a few minutes left, so I'm going to go for 2 today, and then the rest we can start back up for next week. So for Judy, we have someone from JC Himes. What is your most memorable moment with our military veterans and USO tours?
That's a good one and an easy one for me because my second year as a cheerleader, we landed on an aircraft carrier, the USS Constellation, which is an experience on its own to land on an aircraft carrier with 3,000 to 5,000 troops on it and perform for them. But it was also in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and they had to keep the battleship group moving. They couldn't stop for us to do our shows. So they somehow 3 ships together, and they all kept at the same speed, but we never stopped. It all kept going, and we performed our USO show on the middle ship, and you could see the sailors hanging off the other 2 ships, the ship that we were on. They put cardboard down for us to perform on, and it was just a really great experience.
That's awesome. Okay, one more question, Kelly. This is for you from Eric Randall.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Kelly, if you were living in a TV sitcom right now, what show would you be on?
Oh, this isn't right now, but it's a flashback. I'd be on I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball. Oh. I have a lot of Lucille Ball moments in my life that people might not normally associate me with, but definitely I Love Lucy.
Perfect. Well, let's wrap up today for our Twitter, and then we'll get back to those questions that we didn't get to next week.
Yay. Well, this was fun.
This was really fun.
Lots we talked about. Okay, then we'll see everybody next week on Just for Kicks.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?